My name is Rhapsody and welcome back to Wildfrost. Alright, is it Vosk, is it Blazefall, or is it Nugjunk? Oh, I know they're not going to keep the names, but these are some good names. So Nugjunk has Frenzy, Axon 4, applies 1 snow aimlessly for 2 damage as well. Blazefall applies 3 poison on a 3 counter with 1 damage and 9 health. There's also Vosk, who restores 3 health to all allies, but that's on a counter of 5, so that also feels quite slow. And also it's worth noting that that's on the character class that has Shademancy, so I would be summoning, units that I'm more than okay sacrificing, rather than building large units on field and keeping them healthy. I don't know, I feel like I've been avoiding Snow Dweller, and this is an interesting Snow Dweller. Let's go, Blazefall. Or, should I say, Tristan. Let's go. Now, that is damage, but it's not damage that hits multiple things on field. I wonder if I might benefit from getting Spike here. It's either Spike or Snoof. Snoof for 3 damage, 3 health, counter of 3, and applies 1 frost. I think it's been a while. I'm taking Snoof out for a ride. And also, because we are in this mode, I do have the ability to give a crown to a different card, should I want to. Which would actually give me the ability to poison on round 1, guaranteed, but I'll probably end up doing that on round 2. The Snowbow has a Frenzy Charm? Rude. If Tristan acts early enough on that top line, I can actually kill the Wild Snoof. Yup. Have it die to poison specifically. And it would die to that poison next turn? No, it would die to that poison this turn, that's a problem. Because I do want to start also lining up some combo. I also can't let the Wild Snoof hit me with any frost, otherwise I'm going to be never really lining up combo at all. Baby Snowbow, I really don't want to let it act. But I can't really freeze the Baby Snowbow either. I probably can't use Baby Snowbow as part of this combo I want to do. I could let it attack Tristan, lose only 3 health on Tristan here. Actually, then I can kill 3 of you in the same turn. That's way better. All I have to do is Scrappy Sword Snowbow in the backline. And then next turn, both Tristan and Snoof are acting, so if I Scrappy Sword the Snowbow, that's a triple kill, baby. Mom, get the camera! That's as good as we could have done it. This Winterworm has a... Oh! Okay, so I didn't even know this was a thing, but this appears to be a Lumen Charm, giving this creature double the effect on their card, but doubling the effect on this creature's card is bad for them because it reduces their damage much faster. Hilarious addition for that card to have. I suspect throwing out an earlier poison on that character is going to make it easier to line things up here. Woodhead does nothing but take a hit for you. I do want to just throw out additional hits against these characters wherever possible. Oh! Yeah, I can get a double kill here. Next turn, Tristan is going to attempt to attack, killing the Winterworm. And yeah, if I draw any damage, I can kill the goblin on the top line. Is there any benefit for doing this the other way around? No, I don't think so. I think I've basically eked out as much money as was possible in this fight. It's gonna be slightly harder to do here, admittedly. I'll still try and do it, though. So the real problem is that if I do any aggressive action, I win. But next turn, because Shroom does 2 damage this turn, 1 damage next turn, and Snoof is doing 3 damage this turn. Oh, which means, yeah, I just need to use any Scrappy Sword next turn and we're completely fine. There we go. Maximum money. I thought I was gonna be off on attack timers here. I forgot about the poison trigger timing. It's our 2-time combo. 75 out of the first fight? Pretty good. We could get some additional money as well as an early charm, then head to a frozen traveler. I do feel like we're still missing so many things for this to really work. And those are units and treasures. How well does a charm assist us here? A counter reduction charm on Tristan or something like that. Something like a barrage ability. Although that could also be gotten through treasure, I think. Although maybe that's only available to the Clunk Mancers, the Clunk Masters, the Clunkologists. This is the I'm confident now path. This is the I feel like I need to become confident. I felt like that last fight went okay, but I felt like that last fight went okay because it was the first fight, and that was the only reason. Well, that was the wrong one. All right, never mind, commit. I'm confident, actually, is what I meant to say, and this is all gonna go good. Gain Spark. Trigger immediately when deployed, cannot be recalled. Now, you can put that on your leader. Because it says cannot be recalled, I feel like it's a good idea to just put it on my leader, because they can't be recalled anyway. I guess I didn't need to immediately put it on anything, just in case, like, one of these is insane. Pooty. When destroyed, add a frenzy to a random ally. I do like the idea of getting frenzy on Tristan there. There's Tiny Tycho. When hit, gain 1 frenzy. They have very low HP and very low damage, so they would also want damage and HP support. And then finally, Fire Fist. When health is lost, gain equal spice. They act on a timer of 6. I think I can do this with Pooty quite easily. And also that Pooty... Actually, the enemies won't attack for the first couple of turns and I can just draw into Pooty if I need it, but I do want Snoof out to be actually, you know, imposing on the board. Never mind. Oh god! Uberbear up here on the top line, when hit applies 2 snow to the attacker, also has Aimless Frenzy for 4 damage. That's a really powerful charm to give that character. And unfortunately, if I put Tristan on the top line, they'll immediately get double snowed. Oh boy. I have to use 3 turns of throwing scrappy swords at that player. And if I don't get the ability to do that, I have to frost them and then do it later. Oh, yeah, That's a frost them and do it later. Gotta use one scrappy sword on you. Gotta use another. Can I afford 2 snow for a double kill? Sure. Snoof is just gonna be frozen for 2 turns. I'm gonna make Tristan act fast enough to poison this porcupine this turn, because then that gets it to die next turn. And I really don't want a barrage going off. Snoof is still frozen. The Uber Bear on the bottom line also has a Fury Charm right now. So I don't want to leave them alone on that line. Frostinger in the back line is going to be applying Frost. And both of them are on a 2-turn timer. It's so quick. I'm gonna have to use a snow stick on the Goblin ultimately if I want to keep them around to be able to do anything to. So the Uber Bear now will kill Pooty, and then the Frostinger... Honestly, if you're going to make anyone weaker, make Tristan weaker. Also... can actually get Snoof to hit the Goblin and freeze it. Oh, and in fact, kill it, as it turns out. Because Snoof was the one to get the frenzy. The bear's gonna die as a result of that poison. But unfortunately, Tristan is now going to take 1 trillion years to act. Whenever anything is snowed, gain 2 damage on the Snow Goblin there on the top line. But they'll just die next turn to a Snoof double attacking. Definitely time for a redraw. Oh, actually, I kind of want the Snoof to kill the Frostinger, so that I can reveal Bumbo to poison from Tristan. I'm not getting many combo kills here, but I feel like I'm kind of ahead of pace on combo kills, enough not to really worry about that too drastically. Gotta get a Woodhead down for Bumbo's first strike. Then I'll frost up that Snow Gobbler. A Scrappy Sword so that Snoof doesn't expend both of their strikes on that character, and then Bumbo freezes. Oh, sorry, Bumbo gets poisoned by Tristan. That'll do. That'll do. Get him, Snoof. Actually, no, if I draw I'll use a Snow Stick to end it. Only seems appropriate. Pooty is injured, oh no. The value of charms has drastically risen since I now have a character activating as soon as they come into the field. This is also a path that then gives me a Frozen Traveler. I do feel like my in-play deck kind of sucks. But at the very end of this path, we have a Woolly Snail, which may fix that. Okay. With more choice to it. Ah, Shroom Charm. Apply a shroom. Interesting. Just another shroom for Tristan? I'm gonna hold on to that. I don't need to put that on you right now. Let's go to the Frozen Traveler. This is why we wait. We're offered Blunky, Wart, and Bomb Bomb. Blunky, when deployed, gain 1 shield. Wart has 6 health, 0 damage. Aimless, but applies 2 poison, 2 shroom rather, and has Frenzy 2, counter of 3. And then Bomb Bomb just does huge damage as long as they stand alone in a line. Do not let anyone stand with them. Unless you want them to die, like Pooty. I do really like the idea of trying to get additional poison in this deck and then just make it like poison and upkeep. Sure. I'm taking what? Let's do poison. Time to head to the Woolly Snail, where we find Frostbloom for applying 3 frost to a character, as well as doing 0 damage to them. Scrap Pile for adding a scrap health to a character. Demon Heart, 0 damage to a character, but it applies Demon Eyes, as well as restores 7 health. Noomlin Biscuit obviously immediately draws my eye in this room. Add Noomlin to a card in your hand, consume. Adding Noomlin to Sunrod or Snowstick, or even just a Scrappy Sword, any of them, frankly, is incredible for us. It's also a crown, it's also a charm. We could get a... Unfortunately, we cannot get a crown, a charm, and a Noomlin Biscuit. I definitely want a crown when I have Wart in the deck. In fact, I would be more than happy to take as many crowns as the game will give me. Let me set up my early board, it matters, they're all poison. Look, I gotta take a crown. And it's gotta go on Wart. And I'm almost certainly gonna end up giving Wart the Shroom, but before I do that, I'm gonna buy a charm. Wish I had 1 more gold, I could take the Noomlin Biscuit then. Spice Charm, gain 2 spice when hit. I almost want to hold on to that through the next fight. Like, how much good is it really going to do if I put it on Tristan? I'm mostly preventing enemies from hitting in the first place. I'm mostly, forestalling them, blocking them, freezing them, etc. I'm going to give Wart the Shroom Charm. More Shroom, you see. Although slightly less early because it doesn't immediately activate with Spark. I understand. I'm happy for this trade-off. Alright, boss, what's up? Oh, it's a Bamboozle! Oh, it's a Bamboozle. How well paired against this are we? I mean, obviously having a Pooty here to sack. Very nice. That Snowbow in the back line only really dies to Scrappy Swords sent at them. That's all I really can do. Wait, does this also kill Bamboozle right now? 1 damage, 3 damage, 4 damage, 6 damage. Yep. But Bamboozle doesn't count as a kill, so it's not going to be combo for the sake of Snowbow. I almost don't want this. Oh, Wart might attack the backline. Okay, if Wart might attack the backline, I should try and give Wart the ability to hit the Winter Worm. And I'm going to spend a snow stick on the top line. We did hit the winter worm, but we would have had to hit it twice to prevent the split there. The problem is the enemies act quite quickly, and I just expended all of mine. You know, that's the main thrust of my hesitation here. I could get Pooty alone on the bottom line here to die against Snowbow. Currently, Pooty does form a pretty useful wall. I do also want to freeze Boozle, slow them down. Alright, Snow Stick on Boozle, I'm gonna have Pooty die to the Snowbow. Double Strike was given to Snoof, unfortunately. I'm not gonna be killing anyone this turn, so I don't need to throw out the Scrappy Sword. Woodhead, neither. It might be appropriate to use the Sunrod to get Snoof to double freeze Boozle right now. As well as deal a fair whack of damage too. I suspect it's not entirely unlikely that I can get 2 kills here on the bottom line. Never mind, we just have Wart aimlessly strike exclusively the enemy's front liner. Snoof here is definitely going to be taking 2 units out. But I would prefer them to freeze Bam for a turn here, so I'm going to use a Scrappy Sword to take out one of the targets myself, forcing Snoof to attack offline. I can block that Winter Worm with the Woodhead, and I probably should. So I do. It's as simple as that. If I had Flame Water on Snoof, I would actually be able to get a double kill on the bottom line next turn, line up for some more extra chances at damage. Okay, I'll redraw here. Though I am a bit worried. Because currently Bam intends to eviscerate my top line. And it looks like I have to sacrifice Wart in order to get my triple kill here, but I'm fine with that. I Snow Stick to freeze Bam, who will now die to their poison. I kill 2 units on the bottom line, and then Bam explodes for the 3rd. Wart doesn't have a damage stat, so they don't have to give up half of that due to their injury. They only have to give up half of their health, which is more replaceable. Given that Pooty will die, I do feel like I could actually take an additional companion here. How likely am I to get 2 companions? Because one of them replaces Snoof first. How likely am I to get another companion after that immediately that I'm like, this needs to go in the deck before the next boss? That's actually not particularly likely. I need a lower redraw counter so that I can get back to my useful units consistently. Ah, of course. Oh no. Well, I go to the treasure on the top line and we find the choice that I have to make. I take the broken vase, I go to the bling snail, I kind of wanted to go on the bottom line, so... Because I'm still missing so much treasure for this deck. Yuki. Whenever anything is snowed, gain equal damage. You start as a 1/1. You seem interesting, but no, not for this deck. Big Berry, on kill, restore 2 health to self and all allies in row. Good way to get some additional health out there. Good tank. A tank who could happily hold the Spice Charm. Yeah, it's Big Berry. It had to be Big Berry. We drop Snoof, who we then need to demote. I'm sorry, King Snoof. We're all about that berry now. And you get your Spice Charm. Let's head into that next battle. Ooh. I mean, I definitely have to use the Spark on the bottom line here. But Big Berry is going to get a lot of spice out of these enemies. I'm going to use Pooty to block the first strike from Gok, because I feel like it's useful to still have that HP management in here. And if I can force Jabjotes to be attacking off sync with one another, like by using a Snow Stick on one of them, I can make sure that Big Berry is always there to take the strike. I don't entirely dislike the idea of giving some damage to Wart, who attacks with Frenzy. Ooh, we got Gok. Unfortunately, we also took Demonize to all of our units on the bottom line, so we really need them to clear that with some stacks of 1 damage hits against them. Currently, next hand does have a Scrappy Sword. Great. So I'm going to redraw and then Scrappy Sword the enemy's Jabjote, forcing Big Berry to kill that unit. Wait, no, it was already gonna kill. I keep counting the damage incorrectly. Anyhow. It's fine. Alright, I'm gonna get Wart to apply poison early, double stack to the Jabjote. That Jabjote's dead before it ever acts. Pygmy in the backline intends to add 1 Demonize in Barrage, which is fine, it won't even hit me. Although I guess I don't even need to let it try. I'm gonna Snow Stick that Pygmy. Oh, hilariously, there's actually Aimless and Frenzy as a charm on the Jabjote on the top line, but it still only attacked our frontliner Big Berry, thankfully. Okay, Wart would be killing the Goblin this round. Definitely cycling. Do I want you to kill the Goblin, or do I want you to add additional damage to another line? I think adding additional damage to another line and then we just freeze the Goblin is nice. It still kills the Jabjote, as it turns out. Okay, Big Berry will get 2 more damage before they attack. I'm gonna give you an additional damage so that you do kill Gok, healing no one. I'm gonna take out the Pygmy while I have the opportunity, as well as just throw a Scrappy Sword at the Goblin. Get myself some extra money. Alright, let's cycle. I think what I want to do is just snow stick the goblin, give myself the ability to get more out of it. And then I could even just put ward on the top line. Ooh, that's a lot of poison for the frontliner. We're gonna block that hit because it's a big one. With Pooty, who will then give the extra attack points. Then next turn, I want to be able to use... Well, I want to be able to get a triple kill next turn, so I've got to use a Sunrod on Wart to get some additional damage out, possibly against Porcupine, due to the aimless nature of Wart. Yeah, okay, we actually took it out this turn, that's fine, I guess. Then we can take out the... Gobbling and Jabjo. And I guess that all works out. Muttonhead dies at the end of this turn as well. Just drop out Woodhead for no reason in particular. I just still feel like I could be getting more money, you know? Alas. Wart's recovered from their injuries. Nice. Glad to see that. Let's go get this first treasure before we decide anything about the route. Oh! Yay. So realistically, we're offered only two choices here, and realistically, we're only offered one choice here, and I'll talk about why. But we'll start with the Pepper Reaper. Has 2 damage to the target, but applies 3 spice. That'd be a really good way to, give some extra spice to the Big Berry. 5 spice, single card. Shroominator has 3 scrap. Shroominator, whenever anything is shroomed, double the amount, and lose 1 scrap. The problem is this costs scrap, and it does not ultimately allow the thing that is super required from poison, which is the transference of it from one target to another. The fact that once a target that has a bunch of poison on it leaves the board, you're not just then left going, okay, what do I do with everyone else now? The fact that when you poison all the small targets in a field first and they die, they pass their poison to the big target. But when you poison the big target in order to take them out first and it dies, it also passes it to all the small targets. It's so useful. It's the Fungo Blaster. When an enemy is shroomed, or rather when a shroomed enemy dies, apply their shroom to a random enemy. Now I'm going to be looking for the opportunity to get another one. A charm on the bottom line. No, I'm going for another treasure and another frozen traveler. Regrets, I have a few, but then again, too few to mention. Slap Crackers, Pepper Flag, Totem of the Goat. Pepper Flag, while active, all allies retain spice. I guess as a way to give Big Berry the ability to keep their spice in between, slays of enemies. Slap Crackers, at least, I would have. I'd be able to use Flame Water on Slap Crackers. It's good target for a lot of different charms. I take the Slap Crackers. There's also the Totem of the Goat, but I don't think that's relevant much to this deck. Frozen Travelers. We have Pyrrha. Apply 6 spice to the ally head on a counter of 5. Wallop. 9 health, 4 damage. Deals 8 additional damage to snowed targets. And then finally Jumbo, who also hits the ally behind them, but otherwise does damage in barrage on a counter of 3. Honestly, I don't think I would take any of these over what I currently have. Closest would be Jumbo. And Jumbo's the one I'm gonna immediately cut. I also do want Pooty to activate earlier than Pooty has been, but you know, we'll deal with that later, I think. Let's get into our next battle. It's Thorns. It's Thorns. Oh boy, it's Thorns. Oh boy, not only is it Thorns, but I don't have a way not to immediately hit some of those Thorns. Because they come into the field and immediately strike. Unfortunately, though aimless, I did not strike Marrow in the backline. What just dies if they accidentally strike the front line twice here? Spare a thought for what? Pooty can just be dropped out individually to block. I don't need them striking an enemy and dying that way. Slapcrackers just do 4 damage on the bottom line to random targets. No, I'm gonna start throwing out some scrappy swords. I'm gonna try and get rid of the aimlessness and then get rid of Marrow behind them. That worked out surprisingly well. Marrow is now revealed to 9 poison, 1 damage. So they're gonna get 1 action out before they die next turn. Cool. How can I get 2 kills this turn? I don't know if I can. So the Grumble on the top line will have 5 health after I strike them back with Big Bear. No, they will have, not that. They will have less. Because they strike Big Berry first. So they will have 3 health left after that. Which I could clear up like this and Sunrod on Tristan. Pooty gave the frenzy to Tristan, who then double struck and... Lightning Orb logic would ask me to say that it's always going to be the worst target, and that was clearly the worst target. So I should have expected that. Ron, on play, adds 1 junk to hand. They have 8 damage, 10 health, 5 counter. Let's go, Ron, or should I say, Tristron. Because it works with the name-ish. Draw 1 when hit just seems real useful. Quite broadly so. Okay, we have the Sunsong box, we have 4 Gear Hammers, Junk Flask of Ink, Snowzuka, Junkhead. The traditional starting deck. Right, it's on activate you add the junk to hand. I did forget about that. That's fine though. This Snoop has 5 additional health. That could have been a problem. It's not going to be, but it could have been. Penguin's gonna allow us to draw another card on that top line. This Wild Snoof, I could honestly just Flask of Ink you, rather than trying to Snow Zook you. So Penguin could die this round. Do I want that? Or do I just want to draw 2 cards? I think I want to draw 2 cards. Next turn the Snoof does die to the Gearhammer. I'm going to do 1 additional damage to Sneasel here by Gearhammering the Chungoon in the back line. We draw 2 cards here. And now this turn, the Penguin and Snoof both die. Solid little bit of a double kill there. I don't care about really upgrading all of the Gearhammers. Don't have Junk in hand with the Sunsong box, unfortunately, right now, but I do have Waddlegoons for some block. Sorry, I do have Junkhead for some block against the Waddlegoons. Or Snowzuka, rather, for blocking against the Waddlegoons, because the Waddlegoons would just tear through Junkhead. Just gonna throw 2 Gearhammers at Chungoon, taking him out. Sneasel does some damage on the top line to the Goblin. I don't really need 3 junk in this hand right now. Also, the demonize effect from this Waddlegoons would actually be kind of annoying. I'm gonna Flask of Ink the Waddlegoons so it doesn't demonize me. Take 3 damage on Tristran. That Goblin is gonna try and run away, so I'll Snow Zook you, hitting you as well as freezing you for 2 turns. Hello, Big Pang. Knew you had to be around sooner or later. I'm gonna need a blocker at some point for Big Pang, and then Trash is going to activate this turn, giving me a junk in hand. Goblin's about to run away. That's fine, nothing I can really do about that. I mean, I could Sunsong box, or I could try and redraw. I don't have the ability to kill many of you on the same turn as the big thing. Unless Sneasel and Tristran lined up, I can only maximum get 2, 1 with a Gearhammer and then 1 with my own strike. So it does feel like hastening Tristran's attack and making it capable of dealing enough damage to kill Big Pang is probably the priority. Time to redraw. That would line up a couple of turns. I'm gonna use the Sunsong box on Tristran. So now Penguin attack, Penguin attack, Penguin try to attack, Big Pang attack. So basically what I need to do is just use 1 Gearhammer on a Penguin, and then I'm gonna get a triple kill, which ends in killing Big Pang here. Junkhead adds 3 trash to hand, Sneasel attacks, Tristran attacks, 3 times combo. Yeah, it's fine. I've gotten up to 75 from a well-managed first fight, but that was against the Snow Guardian rather than this. Snow Guardian? No, that's the Frost Guardian's the end. It was the Snow Knight, Snow Lord, Snow dude. I've got to go for the double treasure. I found the previous deck too lacking on in-play stuff. Interesting. Before an enemy attacks, apply a Demonize to them. That would reveal enemies to quite powerful attacks from Tristran quite powerful Gear Hammer strikes in the second cycle. It's also a Frostbell, just for reducing the damage, allowing units to strike Sneasel without Sneasel being too sad about it. I quite like the idea of that, actually. I've talked myself into that Frostbell. Frostbite Shard. Reduce the target's effects by 1, consume. I've never actually taken that, but I've always theory crafted that it would have the ability to pretty much nullify a couple of bosses. And I'd like to see that occur. Hello, Foxy. It is mighty good to see you. Foxy! 3 counter, 3 times Frenzy. One of the things I think is largest in my estimation of Foxy is the fact that they have the ability to add so many triggers of combo to your typical fights. Because as we just saw, the fully optimal version of my current in-play deck can only get a maximum of 3 in a single turn. This dude can get 3 by himself. There's also Snobble, 3 health, 2 damage, applies equal snow to the damage dealt. That does seem pretty good as well. That seems like the ability to lock some characters down. However, the fact is, there's some bosses that just will not give a single heck about this in any way, shape, and or form. There's a lot of normal enemies. I'm terrified. Krego, when a card is destroyed, gain 1 damage. Now, Krego, for cards being destroyed, you will count enemy cards dying, you will count my own cards dying, you'll count trash being destroyed from hand, cards getting consumed. I think it's much easier to activate Krego than I might have originally anticipated, but it's got to be Foxy right now. It just has to be. What am I lacking? A really good extendable card with my charms. Charms I don't yet have, admittedly, but charms that I will get. Sneasel doesn't need to attack as importantly as Foxy needs to. Alright, time for the next battle then. Oh, Mimic on the top line! Trigger whenever an ally in the row attacks. When hit, gain 1 teeth. I mean, thankfully I will kill that before it ever gains teeth. Okay, I know how to handle this. I can get a double kill, taking out Mimic and one either of Porcupine and Frostinger. Frostinger, I think, is probably the least threatening. So that would be Sunsong Box on Foxy. Foxy now has the ability to kill Porcupine this turn. And then just a Gear Hammer on the Mimic. Do I really care about freezing this enemy? Or do I just want to cycle to get to Sneasel and Flask of Ink and my Gear Hammers and things sooner? I'm gonna do that. Pop a Sneasel out on board. Ooh, Foxy's about to strike this goblin 3 times. And kill it. So if I use Gear Hammer on a Frostinger on the top line, that's 2 kills and another 12 combo, another 12 bling, sorry, on top of it. Sneasel can also take out the Ice Lantern this turn, but should it? That'd be a 2 times combo. I could take out the Mimic in the back line with just another Gear Hammer. Yeah, I think that's right. Take the opportunity while I have it. Frostinger actually has a damage charm on it, so it is slightly more threatening than I really want it to be. I could draw a card off of it with Sneasel, but that just puts all of these into the next cycle. Actually, that's pretty good. These are all bad cards that I don't really want to see in the next cycle. So if I now just play Junkhead, Frostinger forces me to force my new deck draw, and I can just cycle past these cards, get as deep into the next cycle as possible, and see these as little as possible. Great. Do I want to kill the target? No. I'm gonna try and lead them for combo. I'm gonna Gear Hammer my own Junkhead to upgrade my Gear Hammer as well as get a Junk in hand this turn. Excellent. Currently, Sneasel is threatening not to kill the Frostinger. I could get 2 units taken down right now if I gave Sneasel any assistance on that top line. Oh, I can't, because I would have to use the Sunsong box on Tristan on the bottom line to allow this in the first place. Cool, cool. I definitely want to cut through the top line as quickly as possible. I could line up Foxy and Tristan to both attack next turn. That seems really good. Then where do I want to allocate this 1 damage from Sneasel? Probably on the bottom line, because it can't matter up here on the top line. So this Tristan could kill the bottom line. Frostinger blocks on top, and then kills Frostinger, and then the Snowburb. Seemed great to me. I also get to draw a card, forcing the cycle of the new deck. So if I'm forcing the cycle of the new deck right now, I'm going to use the Gear Hammer. Gave up a lot of my damage potential there because I when hit an enemy, which debuffed Foxy. There goes my combo on the Snowburb. Rude. How rude. Well, a smart plan became a less than that. Thankfully, I proved resilience in situations such as these before, and I will again. Gonna lower the effect of this ringer. I can force both Burb and Ringer to strike Junkhead, then Foxy double taps the Snowburb and starts striking the backline enemy. Yeah, sure. Why is Foxy the only one who gets debuffed by this? Ah. I'm gonna cycle because I don't want to play 2 more cards from that hand. Get him, Tristan. Not much combo management there, admittedly. I tried. Shade Sculptor. Do I have a Shade Sculptable? I mean, by the time I get there, I might, what with the charm and all. I don't want more junk in my base deck right now. I'm gonna go to the charm. Please? Some ridiculous. That is ridiculous. But, is it good for me? Because it gives a card consume as well as boosting its effects by 5. So the Sunsong box would also increase the effect recycle 1, for instance. Obviously giving boost effects by 5 and consume to a Gear Hammer, having it get 7 damage but be consumed is useless. I can get a Frostbell to just be a complete nullification of an enemy line, and then I could dupe that, which is probably how I'm going to go about it. I'm going to really be kicking myself if I get to that woolly snail and it turns out there was a much better choice there. Thank you for duping my Frostbell. Alright. Cool. None of these would have been much better. Snowcake, apply 12 snow and consume. Then there's also a charm machine and the crown. I could buy the entire bottom line. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't look half bad. Haze Keg on the top line is also quite appealing though. I would be able to take the Haze Keg and the Proto Stomper. So the Haze Keg, apply 1 haze, recycle 2. You get to direct it to the enemy, but it recycles junk from your hand. So we wouldn't be able to play this early on, but we would be able to play it late in the fight pretty effectively. And especially effectively if I had a Proto Stomper that just added 2 junk to a hand when I wanted it. Sneasel allowing extra draw there. Pomboom's also a really good combo setup. So if I went for both of the Proto Stomper and the Haze Keg, I would be 1 off of then also being able to get a charm, which would be allowed. So I'm gonna start with the charm first and see if that leads me in a different direction instead. This might. Recycle charm, gain recycle 1, requires junk to play in hand, plus 2 damage. Putting that on Foxy is appealing, but I don't think it's right. Just a gear hammer that's more powerful by base. Okay, recycle 1. I don't want the Proto Stomper. Wait. I don't know if there will be... I don't know if they'll allow a Proto Stomper to have trash 2, adds 2 trash to hand, and then recycle 1, recycles 1 of those trash. I think it will require, in order to be played, first off, that you have the junk already in hand. If that weren't the case, I'd be much more persuaded. It's just given me more recycle, which is kind of what I wanted. But also, I am gonna need more recycle anyway. I'm gonna go for the Proto Stomper and the Haze Keg, because it's different. Thank you. I was off by 1, which then gave me the ability. I almost want to see if this works. But I can't do that. I'm putting on a gear hammer. If anyone happens to know that interaction, specifically that it definitely works in a specific way, I would love to know. I would love to. I'd be over the moon. Apologies, just tried to almost drown myself in water. That's fine. I didn't need those lungs anyway. I've got a couple more on mail order. Alright, we got Bamboozle, Winterworm, and Baby Snowbow. I can't really start lining up multi-kills right now. I guess I just throw out some gear hammers, or I reroll to draw something else. Fair enough. Gear hammer the Baby Snowbow down. Another gear hammer to the top line. Reduce their damage ridiculously. No damage allowed to be dealt to me. Throw a Snowzuka, removing all of the damage from the Winter Worm, as well as making them not attack for another trillion years. Now, oh wow, I don't even actually have the Sneasel. I was really hoping to drop it, have it take no damage, but draw a card for us. There's the Proto Stomper and Haze Keg in the same hand. Lovely to see that. If I put Junkhead out now, in fact, I would be able to get another Junk. So I could even play the Haze Keg first if I thought that was going to be better. Getting the Haze Keg to have Bamboozle strike all of their allies would be pretty sick. Let's get Tristan to take that 1 damage from a Snowball off the top line. I'm gonna do the big trash damage to Winterworm as well. Great. How many of you can I kill on the same turn? Sunsong Box on Foxy. That top line's not really threatening to do any damage. I'm gonna Frostbell the bottom line to prevent them from also ever dealing damage. We'll split Bamboozle into Bam and Boozle. Let's cycle past the Haze Keg there. I'm just not gonna get that many kills at the same time. I think I just have to start settling for taking units off the board at least. Use a Gear Hammer against the Winter Worm. No, I'm rededicating myself to try and get this work. Junkhead gives us a lot of extra junk to work with there. Foxy is now intending on this top line to kill Boozle, but not the Winter Worm, unfortunately. And I've got a lot of junk in this deck, so it's not like I'm gonna draw into great things consistently. Don't want to split Foxy's damage right now. Fine. If I use a flask, I use a flask of ink, then I'm locked into also playing another card from this hand next turn. I'm just gonna force the cycle right now. Unfortunately, that means the Bam on the bottom line gets the wild trigger there. I'm gonna move Foxy further towards attacking. We get another junk, so now our Haze Keg can get Bam to attack their own units. Do I want it to do that next turn? So I'd give 9 damage to Bam this round, and force it next round to Wild Strike its allies. I like that. I'm gonna use my Haze Keg there. So Bam's attack will be against 2 of its own allies. Only the Snow Gobbler can survive. Winterworm will take out Junkhead, and then Snowbow just attacks Tristran for 1 damage. Counts down after each attack on Bam, actually. That's worse. So I'm gonna put a Junkhead there to soak up the second attack that you do. And I'm gonna Snow Zook the Winterworm to prevent losing any of my top line. Glad I caught that. Unfortunately, it means that this is still not good for damage, really. I can't even kill 2 units this turn. But I should still try and get as many of them as possible. I can get 2 units down. I can get 3 units down using the Proto Stomper. So I do. My Porcupine, Foxy kills. Winterworm attacks first. My brain is... and it isn't. What happened? What happened? I could have sworn. Just die. Just die, Bam. Anytime I'm about to make a final click, I need to just stop for a second and go, okay, did the new thing I came up with then screw me? I'm going to increase our card draw so that we can add our combos to the same hand as one another more consistently. There's the treasure. Gotta go on the top line. Nom and Stompy. Whenever a card is destroyed, count down by 1. Love the idea of getting you in the deck, buddy. And I treasure this treasure. A broken vase. There's a woolly snail here. Probably not really with anything I can afford. Something on sale I can afford. Ooh, Forging Stove. Destroy a card in your hand, add its damage to a random ally. That's not bad. Some of the Gear Hammers, Proto Stomper. Nom and Stompy even, theoretically. Molten Dip would be incredible. Alas. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Forging Stove. That'll also give me the ability to try and combo with some other cards. Foxy, do you want to go out immediately? I think you probably do. Let's have a better fight with you this time. Okay. Nom and Stompy is a great unit for tanking up against what the enemies are currently putting out. I like the idea of using the Forging Stove on the Gear Hammer. And it does hit Foxy. Sick. Best target. Foxy, you're probably never really going to be revealed to anything that will cause you to take the demonized damage. I'm going to put a Junkhead out. Rather than using Flask of Ink or anything there. And now I'm going to use a Frostbell for the top line. Destroying another card and preventing their next throws of damage. Cycling here, we find a junk. Alongside the Sunsong box, so I could get Tristram to just take out Gok this round. It would destroy 2 cards. I think we can do better than that. The Proto Stomper will deal 8 to a unit. So in fact, if I set up on the top line, I can use the Proto Stomper on the second Jabjo. Then Tristram attacks the first one. And now next turn, Foxy has a double kill already set up on the top line. And that double kill will even trigger Nom and Stompy to act thereafter, who can kill Gok. That seems great. I'm gonna need more things that allow me to recycle. What? How? You know what it was? I saw Nom and Stompy could go on a different line, and then Nom and Stompy was no longer protecting Foxy. I needed to invert the order. Can I save myself here now? Or am I just now dead? I don't know. Let's try and find out. There's Muttonhead. Gok has Frenzy. They prevent it from killing me on the top line. Take out the Pygmy and the Jabjote. Muttonhead will kill anything put in front of them except for Sneasel right now. Or Tristram. And Sneasel on the top line to draw 2 cards. I'm gonna do that. 1 health on Tristram. We now have enough to be able to use the Haze Keg. Just gonna use that to try and nullify Muttonhead's next attack. We actually did draw the Proto Stomper after the Forging Stove though. Although now I don't know what to do with it. If the Proto Stomper goes against Gok, Sneasel then strikes and we actually prevent Gok from attacking. It's pretty good. Of course, Forging Stoving the Proto Stomper out of hand is also quite appealing. Get additional damage on a unit. Better for upkeep. I'm gonna use the Proto Stomper on Gok on the top line. I think ultimately letting that unit attack will end our run much more quickly than anything else right now. Muttonhead is going to be attacking one of their own, thankfully, so I know I don't need to worry about that. I can use Forging Stove now on Gearhammer. Which would also remove another... Yeah, I'm gonna need additional damage. Muttonhead's got a lot of health. Sneasel gets the damage. Then draws us 2 cards. Muttonhead strikes the top line. So I can get Tristran to kill the Jabjote and then Nom and Stompy to kill the Porcupine. I'm gonna cycle rather than play that Gearhammer. Yeah, Sunsong Box and Junk. So, if I Sunsong Box and Junk, I can get Tristran and Nom and Stompy to attack even before the end of the turn, so the next counters will start counting down. That doesn't really seem to have that much value, though. But it will start clearing out the right side of my hand. And in doing so will give me the ability to freeze Muttonhead without applying Demonize to all of our targets. I'm not getting more money from Gobbling right now. I don't care about that. I just need to not die. Muttonhead's now frozen for 4 rounds because of the critical version. I'm going to use a Junk on Sneasel to draw. Haze Keg. That won't work. Or rather, Haze Keg will prevent Muttonhead from taking their next attack. Also destroys 2 cards in hand for the sake of Nom and Stompy. They'll just fizzle their attack. I'm gonna Proto Stomp for the Muttonhead. And then Sunsong Box, Nom and Stompy. I considered quitting. Legitimately, I considered just like stopping recording the episode 3 times there. My heart. Good God. One thing I have always really appreciated about roguelikes, in particular, roguelikes, again, in particular, is the fact that they teach resilience. In a roguelike, if you want to streak specifically, so this is something I guess I ultimately learned from Cobalt Streak and from Last Grey Wolf, or Dundog, in their Binding of Isaac and Enter the Gungeon streaking, respectively, that you need to be resilient as within you and the game and your understanding thereof exist the tools to allow you victory no matter the setback. I'm very, very glad to have employed those tools there, but they did take all of my brain space and all of my emotional space for a period of time. We did it though. We're here. We still have Foxy, and we're still going. Good gosh. Let's get a treasure. I'm gonna need another treasure from the top line probably. I'm still looking for more things to recycle. Pinkberry juice for some extra health. There's Plinker, dealing damage and losing their own. Pinkberry juice with some extra health is not bad with Sneasel. Also, we've seen all of the ridiculous things that it can do. Destroy a card in your hand, give its damage to a random ally. That just doesn't seem particularly good with the Slap Cracky. Yep, I'm just going to take Pinkberry Juice. It's just a very, very good card. Frozen Traveler on the top line. I don't really expect to be overwhelmed and change my mind on anything here. Folby trash 1 when hit. Blunky when deployed gain 1 block. And Bomb Bomb. Deal 6 damage to self and allies in row for Barrage. I mean, I could take Bomb Bomb. I could also just take Blunky and then possibly have a unit to drop and block with later on. I'm gonna take a Blunky. For this next fight, let's drop out Sneasel as well. Sun Cream, reduce counter by 1, recycle and consume. There's also the ICGM, trigger multiple times equal to its scrap, and destroy self, counter of 13 for that. However, it is a good target for a forging stove to burn out of your hand, given that it has 10 damage. Heart Mist Station, when an ally is hit, restore their health by 1. Realistically, I probably want to go for the Sun Cream here. So I do. We have not got a crown on the card that's not in the deck, so it's time to go to the next battle. Ooh. Marrow has Smackback here on the bottom line. I need to remove it as quickly as possible. Because while active, it is adding 3 teeth to all allies. Which means that if Foxy misses and strikes Grumble ever, which they are aimless, so they're, you know, quite likely to do, I lose Foxy immediately again. Which, readers, let me tell you I am not keen for. I may cycle Foxy back into the deck immediately and draw a whole new hand. These still aren't the cards I wanted to see in that hand. I needed Nom and Stompy so that I would have damage. Someone to just stand on the board for a period of time. I'm gonna have to use a Proto Stomper on Marrow so that I actually have the ability either to kill them with just a multitude of Gear Hammers, either one in this hand and then the 4 damage Gear Hammer in the next hand, or eventually Tristran just aimlessly striking them. Can get some health on Tristran. Best of luck, Tristran. I'm gonna put a Blunky on the top line. Blocks against Smog. Tristran does not strike Marrow, unfortunately. I redraw. And now need to use the Gear Hammer to take Marrow out. This Pawpaw on the top line could easily be destroyed with a Gear Hammer. But it's only doing 1 damage right now, whereas next turn I'm gonna have to respond anyway. I'm gonna summon Nom and Stompy. Now I'll throw a Gear Hammer at Pawpaw on the bottom line. Morjaw has been summoned. That top line's really threatening still. It's got that giving aimless to all of us thing going on. I've got an ink for Morjaw, but right now I need to use a flask. Sorry, the Frost Bell on the top line. Tristran's gonna aimlessly strike whenever they strike on that top line. Which would mean they would have the ability to possibly hit the Pawpaw and just immediately die. I'm about to get a trash in this hand, but also I'm about to aimlessly hit on the bottom line, and the Morjaw would just strike immediately to our front, killing Nom and Stompy, if I don't use a Flask of Ink to prevent that. Alright, let's redraw. No real damage cards in hand to speak of for the sake of the Forging Stove. Gonna have to use a Gear Hammer to take out a Grumble. And then let Nom and Stompy take another hit. Morjaw's about to try and deal 5 to a target, so that should certainly be a junk head that it strikes. Nom and Stompy's aimlessness on the top line shouldn't prevent them from being able to hit a relevant target. But they probably would appreciate some more health right now. We kill one of the targets that was making us aimless. Woohoo! I can't have Tristran attack on the top line, they might still hit the Pawpaw. I don't want to have Blunky attack on the bottom line either. Okay, I'm gonna send Blunky back. Give you the ability to block later, possibly. I will use Sun Cream on Tristran. We'll attack this turn, forcing the Morjaw. Either forcing the Morjaw to attack, or, as the case turned out to be, giving us the ability to get back to some useful cards, thank heck. So Smog on the top line is now threatening to do damage. So I'll block that with a junk. If I put Foxy down this turn, I could give it the Sunsong box next turn, but we would still be aimless. So that wouldn't help us yet. I'm gonna need to Snowzook Morjaw next turn as well, so I need to consider how to set up for that. If I have to snow juke more junk, it feels like I have to use the Proto Stomper on Paw Paw here on the bottom line, so that I don't have to deal with Aimless while I can't deal with Smog. Smog on the top line I'm incapable of killing because the Proto Stomper's only dealing 8 damage, and they have 9 health rather right now. I could use the Frostbelt for the top line's defense this round, or rather this turn. Okay. Unfortunately, that does also still commit me to using the Snowzuka on the bottom line this round. Nom and Stompy can block the Paw Paw for 2 damage up here on the top line. Oh man, if we weren't aimless, we would be able to kill the Smog on the top line so easily. I've got to get Foxy out sooner or later, but with the Thorns on the field, Foxy just immediately dies. I guess except for on the bottom. But then you'll have Trigger when hit, and then Foxy immediately dies again. I don't want to cycle past these cards, because these are some of the most powerful cards I have. Pinkberry Juice and Blunky would both be pretty good still. So Sunsong Box recycles junk. Paw Paw attacks Junkhead. I lose two units off the field die. And then a Frostbite Shard next turn would force Nom and Stompy to attack. Don't want to lose units though. I need the Junkhead to block Morjaw later. Nom and Stompy, you have to attack as soon as possible. I'm using the Sunsong Box on you. Nom and Stompy can't attack a unit on the top line and then allow Tristan to attack afterwards, because if Nom and Stompy misses and strikes Smog, then Tristan kills Paw Paw, or rather attacks Paw Paw and dies against them. If I go to the bottom line instead, Nom and Stompy gets to deal with one of the units on the top line, sure, then Morjaw attacks Junkhead and then Tristan responds, Morjaw attacks again, taking out Tristan. It looks like all I can do right now is try and body block with Foxy. To possibly prevent the risk of death. Right? Proto Stomp is 8 damage. I could take out the Paw Paw on the bottom line. Unfortunately, Tristan also has to risk possibly hitting Paw Paw on the bottom line. I could take out Paw Paw on the bottom line. Nom and Stompy immediately kills one of the top liners. Morjaw strikes Junkhead, and then gets struck back and dies. The only chance I have is to try and block with Foxy, and Tristan either Nom and Stompy hits Smog first, or Tristan dodges hitting Pawpaw and hits Morjaw instead. Guess it all works out pretty okay, I guess. Pawpaw is alone on the top line, unfortunately means they have more damage right now. This Pawpaw on the bottom line is almost nothing anymore. Almost not even worth thinking about. As much health as I can get from Pinkberry Juice is worth it. I need that on Nom and Stompy right now. So I could prevent 1 damage from Morjaw, which would actually give Nom and Stompy the ability to survive against another hit from Morjaw. But ultimately I have to draw deeper into the deck in order to get Snowzuka, Blunky, or Flask of Ink in order to save myself. I need to draw sooner rather than later. In case I don't get any of the tools I'm gonna need. So there's Blunky. That blocks 2 hits for us. Oh, and that's great too. Nom and Stompy can block another 4 damage on the top line. And I can Flask of Ink Morjaw to prevent them from triggering on hit. So I get to hit them 2 times there. Now I'll pop Nom and Stompy on the bottom line, and now I just need to destroy as many cards as quickly as I can. Haze Keg will destroy 2 cards in the next cycle. I roll. In fact, I can destroy a card and lower your counter right now, as well as increase your damage, which will then force you to kill the Morjaw. My heart! What? The tension is insane. I go to a Blink Shell Cave. I could go to another one, because we're about to go to a Woolly Snail, where I do get my Lumen, at least. Which will be nice to have. That! Gosh. Charm is probably worth more than the money I'd get from the Blink Snail. Add Frenzy and gain Consume. Add Frenzy and gain Consume. I mean, we should move forward before we think about what we're going to do with that. Might be a better target here in the Woolly Snail. Obviously, Lumen Goop gotta come with me. Making the Lumen Vase. GG's Cookie Box. Add 2 scrap, increase damage by 2, trash 2, and consume. I could give Junkhead a ridiculous amount of block. Actually, that doesn't do it. Because Junkhead doesn't have a damage stat to increase. Add Frenzy and gain Consume. Honestly, I want more ways to increase my unit's damage. I think I'm going to go for a Charm and then a Crown. Let's go for the Charm first. Add scrap health to a scrap. It's gotta be on Junker. No one else can hold it. Blocking an additional hit is worth its weight in gold. We barely made our way through that previous fight. Crowns are really important when you have Lumen in the deck. When a card is destroyed, count down by 2. That seems pretty good to me. That seems pretty good to me. Gain Frenzy and Consume. Frenzy and Consume. Frenzy and Consume. Realistically, putting that on Sunsong box wouldn't be awful. Putting it on Proto Stomper is probably bad, because I want to destroy Proto Stomper with other stuff. And I don't want that much trash that quickly. It's also not awful for the Pinkberry Juice. Pinkberry Juice just being give 8 health to Nom and Stompy, keep Nom and Stompy healthy. I'm gonna give it to the Sunsong box. Alright then. Head to the boss. Hello, Krunker. Those are your first targets, eh? Lumen bars on Nom and Stompy. I do want to put Foxy out. And then if I Flask of Ink Spike Wall, I could Sun Cream to attack it next turn. I don't want it to have smackback. So Krunker intends to attack this turn as well for 8 damage. That would hit Nom and Stompy pretty hard. I could freeze with the Snowzuka. Buy a turn here. By 2 turns even. I'll do that. Foxy triple attacks the Spike Wall. Now, if Grink never attacks Tristran, Tristran will just kill Grink in a single hit next turn. And if I use a Sun Cream on Foxy, requires a junk, which I don't have. Right, of course. That's unfortunate. But I will get that after Tristran attacks. Unfortunately, it will be after Tristran attacks. Let's throw out a Pinkberry Juice on Nom and Stompy, get more health on him. A new problem arises. Krunker now intends to do more damage than they were previously planning, and we deal less damage than I was planning. You can cycle through the deck and see if any solutions come to mind. Yes, I can weaken an entire line. A lot. Frostbell. Lowers significantly the amount of damage coming in. And allows me to kill the Spike Wall. Now Nom and Stompy wants to get in on the action after seeing all of that damage dealt. Grink on the bottom also has a smackback charm. Both of them are going to apply weakness to a character, which is still going to suck. And Foxy will die against the Grink. This one, if I let them live at all. So I have to use the Proto Stomper. No, Foxy will persist through to damage to the backline. That's fine, that's fine. Forgot about that. Kronk is there. Gotta get them. A Gear Hammer that recycles something would damage the Ice Forge and force Nom and Stompy to attack right now. So that gives damage back to Foxy, and then Foxy would have the ability to do some damage to Kronker in the backline. As in, take 3 health points off of. Which is worth. Very worth. In 2 turns' time, I'm gonna need a solution to the Kronker. My current hand proposes that solution is just take the damage. That's not a particularly good solution for me. I need to cycle. So we did it. We found another solution. It is the Frost Spell. Game Giant weakening the enemies here. Unfortunately, now that Grink in the front line has some thorns on them that I don't want to see. There's another Ice Forge out too. Rude. The enemy has actually managed to completely mitigate any attempt I could make to deal damage. And if Foxy attacks this turn, Foxy will die. Very familiar situation for you, Foxy. You must feel at home. Yeah, without the ability to prevent that, I'm just throwing Foxy back into the deck. I'll play around what I can. Love to get a Junkhead out here on the field. But I don't need to put that down this turn. I could put that down next turn. Is there any way I spend 2 turns throwing Ice Forges, Gear Hammers at Ice Forge? And then after that have to deal with Kronker just attacking? Nope, no chance. I'm gonna have to start working on the Ice Forge one day, though. Sunsung Box will destroy 2 cards, which will then force Nom and Stompy to attack. Unfortunately, against targets that Nom and Stompy really ought not attack right now. teeth, smack back, smack back. Like, it's just a lot. It's just a lot that the enemy can do. Use a gear hammer. Remove part of the potency of the enemies there. Nom and Stompy attacks. Next turn, Grink, and then Grink, removing the junk. And then starting to remove the damage that I need in order to deal with these enemies. I need to use the Sunsong Bok before we move on. That's got to be on Tristran. And then I'm gonna give extra health to Nom and Stompy. Tristran kills the Grink in the front line, takes a bunch of damage, unfortunately. Nom and Stompy then kills the second Grink. We can cycle. Yeah, none of us can take 8 damage. So I definitely have to freeze the Krunker with the Snowzuka. Next turn I'm just gonna have to deal with it again. So I do need to have a plan by then. I could get Blunky if I cycle right now. Unfortunately, I have to throw away a bunch of good cards, but I have to get Blunky. I don't think Haze Keg would actually work on the enemy right now. So Blunky blocks Grink and then Krunker, and then just disappears. God, the resummon. I like that the Ice Lantern's weaker, at least. Give some extra health to Nom and Stompy. I'm going to use a Gear Hammer on the Ice Lantern. Grink is going to attack Nom and Stompy. Nom and Stompy will then also get an extra attack out. Krunker has 8 damage. Unfortunately, I cannot do anything to prevent this in any way, shape, and or form. So I am just gonna see if I can get you to attack your own allies with the haze. Yeah. Weirdly. So instead of using Bombard, it struck its own front line. I guess it struck the front line as a long unit usually would. Really interesting. That's very, very helpful. Possibly keeps us alive. Okay, I'm gonna put Foxy out on the field, and then I'm gonna end up Snowzuking Krunker there in the back line. Two Grinks will deal a single damage to Nom and Stompy. Actually, I'm gonna have one of them deal a damage to Tristran. And I'm going to remove the Spike Wall now. Using a Flask of Ink. Forcing Nom and Stompy to attack. And then I use a Gear Hammer and Tristran kills the Grink on the top line, clearing 2 more units out. Now it's just Krunker, Nom and Stompy, Tristran, and me. And that's how I want it. I'm gonna redraw. It's time for the Forging Stove, I think. I use the Forging Stove on the Proto Stomper, adding its damage to a random ally. It happens to be Nom and Stompy, but that's fine. Nom and Stompy attacks a lot of the time. I'm also going to use the Sun Cream to make Foxy attack more commonly. We take Krunker down. They don't have any summons. That is really interesting. They also don't really attack any of my units, which is very, very, very interesting. Thank you. I'm going to recycle one of the Gear Hammers in that hand. Krunker attacks themselves twice there. They attack on a counter of 2 as well. I throw another Gear Hammer, because it's either that or waste the turn. Cycle for a new hand. Currently, Nom and Stompy does survive this. And yeah, I would prefer them attacking Bombard. Although, if I told you to only target your own allies, what would you do? Let's find out. Interesting. So why did it override Bombard before? You fascinate me. I'm gonna get a redraw bell counter reduction. We're still alive. I'm not funny or entertaining, but I'm alive. God damn it! Recovered from injuries, Foxy. Well done. Charm Merchant down there on the bottom line. Possibility of choosing a charm that's really quite impactful to this run. Gnome Traveler on the top line. Possibility of going to a Gnome Traveler. I'm gonna go to the Charm Merchant, actually. Haze Balloon. When destroyed, apply 2 haze to the attacker. There's a Sun Charm. Reduce your counter by 1 on the unit. Have Foxy attack every second turn. Yes. Yes, I do want that. We're about to enter a battle. I think I need another crown. Badly. Because I need to put Foxy out soon, and I need to put Nom and Stompy out soon, because if Foxy doesn't get a damage buff from something, Foxy becomes useless. So I need them out on the battlefield early enough to guarantee that's the kind of thing they're going to be subject to. Don't have anything I can do about that right now, though. Alright, next battle. Bursters and Crabs. Now, I'll Forging Stove the Proto Stomper if you give it to me immediately. 18 damage on Nom and Stompy. What of it? Wouldn't make sense to make Nom and Stompy attack on a reduced counter of 1. In fact, they reduce their own counter by 2 consistently. Would it make sense, actually? No, I want Tristran to attack more commonly as well. Oh, and it requires a junk in hand anyway, so I didn't even have the choice. Because of that, maybe I do go for a Junkhead and then Gear Hammer it and then Sun Cream, even? I don't know, I can see myself doing something wild like that. I'll actually just start upgrading some Gear Hammers here. So here, Nom and Stompy will kill the Burster on the top line, and Tristran will kill the Burster on the bottom line. And all it costs is Sun Cream. Absolutely great kills right there. This definitely feels like it should be cycled past. There's Foxy in a Sunsong box, but I don't have a junk in hand yet. I'll get one soon. So increased health for a target. Yeah, it's probably just more important to get Foxy out, especially because these enemies have the shield, so I'll be able to remove that shield from them quite effectively. I think I will use a Junkhead to block the Crawler on the top line, because I don't want to use the Frost Bell on the Crawler on the top line. Also, that Burster is a premium target for the Frostbite Shard later. In fact, it's a premium target for it right now. So Nom and Stompy will attack as soon as I consume a card this turn. Tristran will attack after. I think for maximum kills this is correct. Because the consumption happens first, so Nom attacks first. And then Foxy tries to follow up. And then Tristran kills on the bottom line. Crab on the bottom line intending to do 8 damage. Don't love that. Blunky's a great block for that right now. And then I would kill the Burster directly in front of Numbskull on the top line. That's not a premium target for me right now. I'm gonna try and remove the shielding from the Crab instead. Okay, I don't really care what Blunky attacks. I don't really want Blunky to attack even. I see the utility in playing Pinkberry Juice right now, but is there anything I could cycle into that would be significantly better for us? I think possibly not this turn. But maybe it extends my reach the turn after. I cycle. Okay, a forging stove that destroys a... That gives 4 damage to us. That's pretty good. I'm gonna take Blunky off the field. Wait, oh, they're hog-headed at the moment because of Numbskull. Well, I was gonna make that clever decision, but now we just hope that it buffs Blunky. Get him, Blunky! You menace! It got Blunky. How dare it. I can take 2 units out this turn, the Burster on the top line as well as the Crab on the bottom using a single gear hammer. And I will. I can't let that Burster on either line, in fact, do anything here. So I'm gonna have this Burster kill Blunky, preventing it from giving haze to Blunky. Ha ha ha. And I'm gonna have the Burster on the top line have no... have no haze to give. I'd have loved to block more damage here, but alas. Let's cycle, despite having both Frost Bells in that hand. Oh, I can give the Crab the ability to attack its own ally, as well as destroy 2 things from hand, and then strike back at that Crab. I like it. Attack your allies, Crab. Oh, you killed the Goblin, how dare you. can spend 2 turns killing all of those on the bottom line. And then I have to worry about the burster on the top. Cycling right now. Ooh, does get very important cards. Pinkberry, Snowzook. I'm gonna Gear Hammer one of the bottom liners. Gear Hammer another bottom. Well, actually, Foxy, you need to start taking out some of the block instances on the top liner there. No, but I do want to be able to take out a burster with... yeah, this round. Cycle. One short on being able to use the Haze Keg, but as soon as Tristran attacks, we'll have it. I can lower the damage coming out of the enemies, but then I have to let a haze come through on someone. I can only take 6, or I can rather take 6 damage on Tristran and block the burst to this round. Which would then give me the ability to haze it next round instead. Okay. I Snowzook. Holding Burster. Numbskull still attacks Tristran. Tristran responds, giving me a junk in hand. I use the Haze Keg on the Burster this round so that it attacks its ally. Adding a haze to that target as well as removing one of its shields. I remove more shield with Foxy and Nom and Stompy immediately following. That Numbskull's now soon to deal 6 damage to its own ally there on the top line. I'm gonna get some extra health on Tristran just in case anything goes wrong. Let's cycle. And I'll have a Forging Stove destroy a Gear Hammer to get some additional damage on... oh, Foxy as it turns out. Trying to get a second unit dead. Get him, Numbskull. And in fact, this ought to be it. You can't stop me. I'm gonna start streaking this game at some point. This is required. Woolly Snail, that's another crown. That's exactly what I was asking for. Another crown gives me the ability to have Tristran, Foxy, Sunsong, Junk. And then that just leaves Lumen in the deck to come out later. I'm going to be fighting a Spike Wall. Nothing else is too much of a problem for that kind of a thing. There's also a Muncher for removing 2 more cards from the deck. At this point, it feels like the Gear Hammers are so essential. I don't really want to remove any cards from this deck. I'm going for the Treasure and Charm. Place C. Add Frenzy. Increase counter by 1 consume. You know who would love to have this? The person who doesn't really care about that counter. Charm. Restore 2 HP on kill. That has to go on Nom and Stompy, who activates commonly enough. And also blocks a bunch of the damage. So am I still going Nom and Stompy and... yeah. This is correct. Let's go for the Eye of the Storm. I'm tense, but I think it's right. Also, you'll restore 4 health on kill, thank you. Oh. Let's increase that counter as well as count it down immediately. Trigger when an ally attacks. Any of them. So Mega Mimic would immediately attack. I'm gonna Proto Stomp to take Grink off the board. I didn't want that activating. Then if I Frostbell Bigfoot on the bottom line, I at least won't have to deal with its damage. I guess I could use Junkhead to do the same thing, and then I would be able to cycle next turn as well. I use Junkhead to do the same thing, and then I cycle next turn as well. So Mega Mimic's going to deal 5 on that top line. Frost Guardian attacks and does nothing. Mega Mimic attacks and hits Blunky. Bigfoot attacks and hits the Junkhead. Mega Mimic kills Blunky in response. Am I okay with that? Because it's either that, or I just take 7 damage against a unit now. Frost Guardian attacks, Junkhead attacks. And I use this to get Foxy on the field this turn. I'll have Nom and Stompy, because they'll be able to heal up from Bigfoot's attack later. Be the person who takes it. Let's get Foxy out on the field. Can't be on the aimless line. Thank you for all that junk. So before I play anything this turn, I have to consider exactly when Nom and Stompy is going to respond. Destroying 2 cards with the recycle here would force Nom and Stompy to immediately attack, which would hopefully kill, I guess, the Mega Mimic. Unfortunately, the Spike Wall on the bottom line has Smackback, so I would start having to deal with that. I could just Haze Cake the Bigfoot, kill, and then just start dealing some damage to the Frost Guardian. Doesn't give us the ability to deal with the Ice Forge, but it does start getting some units off the field. We also don't end up dealing that much damage because Foxy is -2 damage with the Ice Forge currently out. At least we got some help on Nom and Stompy. Get some damage on Foxy. Still no actual damage on Foxy, but some damage on Foxy, you know. I think I'm gonna use the Forging Stove on Gearhammer as well. Do you want to cycle first? Oh, I could silence the Ice Forge? But that doesn't really do anything for me right now. Gives me the ability to deal damage to the Frost Guardian, who I kind of don't want to deal damage to right now, if possible. Yeah, I like the theoretical possibility this has to help. It doesn't, but it could have. So Frost Guardian, almost certainly, I just want you to attack the Junkhead. Bigfoot, you're aimless and you're targeting your own units, so hopefully you target the Frost Guardian, but I guess I'd settle for pretty much any of them. Quite happily, in fact, quite happily. given that I have ink in the next hand, I know how I can deal with the spike wall on the next turn, so I could play Blunky right now, or I could hold off. I'm gonna hold off. I don't think it's possible for any card to be destroyed this turn, so I don't think Dom and Stompy is going to attack, but there is a part of me that's very scared. I'm just gonna silence the spike wall early, in case. Yeah, I guess I prevented it from responding to that, but I guess I also think that's probably a good idea. I really hate how much suppression this Ice Forge has actually managed to put out. I'm gonna hit it with 2 Gear Hammers on 2 consecutive turns. That's how well it did. Get Gear Hamped. Plum currently intends to attack for 2. I get to respond for damage points. If I reduce the cycle on Foxy, Foxy just attacks every turn. I'm gonna do that because I think it's hilarious rather than because I think it's good. So Nom and Stompy will kill Bigfoot and then try and kill the Plum. And if I give a Gear Hammer worth of damage to that Plum, I can guarantee that occurring. Giving Nom and Stompy much more health to heal. We lose our Junkhead on the top line, gaining an additional Junk in this hand. Grizzle. Up there on the top line, threatening to do 13 damage as well as apply 3 frost. Gonna have to cycle past that hand. Neat. I'm gonna use Haze Keg to get Grinkle to attack their ally. Freezing the Frost Guardian for a turn. Foxy then punishes the Frost Guardian's HP points. It's definitely time for a Forging Stove on Proto Stomper here. It hits Tristran, interestingly. So bottom line, we've got two units, pretty easy to take them out. The Grizzle on the top line with the 47 damage is probably the most threatening thing here, certainly, I think. I'm gonna try and lower the damage of that top line. Frost Guardian intends to attack for 0 damage this turn. Foxy can just short of kill the Winter Worm. Gotta cycle through this hand. Gotta have ways to target their backline eventually as well. Remains in the deck at this point. Another Forging Stove, another Haze Keg, another Frostbell, another Lumen. I definitely need to freeze the Grizzle for as many turns as are available, so I think I throw a Snowzuka up there regardless. Probably even end up using Blunky. Uber Bear on the top line, boldly threatening to do absolutely nothing to anyone. I hope you succeed. Gonna drop a Blunky, knowing it's not in danger. Doesn't even lose its shield. Get an extra attack out there from Nom and Stompy too. I really don't want to lose Blunky. To the degree that I think I'm going to take this 8 damage on Tristran instead. Use a Gear Hammer to try and start removing the Uber Bear in the backline that is still removable. I want to keep Blunky because that's a really good block for the upcoming Grizzle. Great. I use a Gear Hammer to take out Uber Bear in the back line. Grizzle hits the block of Blunky. Foxy keeps striking. I'm going to use a Frost Spell on the top line to reduce the incoming damage. And now we have a second Haze in hand as well. Giving me the ability to get each of these to target one another, but it's not going to matter. I use the Haze Keg, and then Nom and Stompy kills. And Foxy could have followed up if you'd let him. We even got Blunky to recover from their injuries. Neat. Alright. Any crowns need to move to different things at this point? I mean, I really don't know if the Lumen Vase needs to be in the opening hand as much as Foxy. Because Foxy needs to get the buffs and needs to get the buffs. Foxy needs the buffs! Frost Jailer, while active, apply unmovable to all enemies. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That's gonna be a big ol' problemo. When a card is destroyed, gain a damage. Frost Junker on the top line, there's Frost Bomber on the bottom line. I'm gonna have to block here, probably with the Junkhead on the bottom line. Attack through the Frost Jailer first, because if I don't have movability, I don't have livability. Foxy definitely needs to go in the back line. Nom and Stompy definitely needs to go in the front. Tristran behind. Without being able to move characters, this is going to be really difficult. Okay, I'm going to give Frenzy and the one counter up to Nom and Stompy on the top line. Frost Junker and Frost Crusher both intend to attack this turn, doing 4 damage total. Then Foxy would respond for 0. I'm not gonna get any trash for a while, so I'm not gonna have the ability to use a Haze Keg effectively. I could use a Forging Stove to try and get more damage on the field as well as destroy a card, but unless that goes on Foxy, it's not particularly good. I could use Blunky to give me a second unit to help block here on the bottom line. Try and split the upcoming damage. It's unmovable, so I wouldn't be able to pull it back off the field even. And eventually I'm going to have to freeze one of these. Okay. Knowing all of that. Gonna freeze the Frost Crusher on the bottom line. Going to use Pinkberry Juice for some extra health on Nom and Stompy in the top. Gonna force the cycle deeper into the deck. We don't have junk available. Throwing a Proto Stomper at an enemy in order to get that junk doesn't seem like a reasonable play. It really doesn't feel like I even have time to put the Lumen Vase on anything. Frost Bomber is attacking for Barrage on the bottom line, so if I don't play the junk head, I lose. I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to win this, but I've tried really hard. And that's all I can ask for from myself. Yeah, this deck's just not unfair enough to do this. A big problem right now is obviously that Frost Lancer on the top line is going to have the ability to kill one of my units unless it hits Tristran. And although I could Flask of Ink to stop that, it would then kill Nom and Stompy, and if it does that, I'm still dead. So my only real play right now is gamble that that hits Tristran, and use the Sunsong box to get additional damage out on the field. There goes Foxy. Alright, we lose. GG. This isn't even... This is a position it's impossible to come back from. My only other unit in the deck is Blunky. I'm gonna use a Proto Stomper on Tristran. You can't take me out! I'm taking me out! And then a Gear Hammer as well. Resilience will only get you so far. Good strategy will have to take us the rest of the way, and that's gonna be relevant in the next episode. Until then, my name is Rhapsody. The name of the game is in Wildfrost top left series playlist. For all my contents of this game, past, present, future, YouTube recommendation down below, streaming past, and the names of the people's eternally supporting the Republic on patreon.com/Rhapsody plays out above the thank you, and a special thanks this episode to Tristan. Hopefully you'll mean to join yourselves, and hopefully we'll see you all next time.